Hi folks, I'm Andrew White, an artist from New Zealand, presently working in the UK at the moment on a collection of paintings. And today we're going to clean up our mess, and I'm going to show you exactly what to do, the most effective way of doing it, and probably the most less time consuming way of doing it as well. Because what we want to make sure is that we get all of the oil paint out of our brushes so that we can use them again, and also it's about conserving and saving a bit of paint along the way as well, so that we're not wasting anything. So let's get on with the job. What we want to be doing here is just scraping up the oil paint that we've got left over, so I'm just sort of mixing it up into batches of different tones, and then I'm just going to save it into a jar lid, which is one of the most effective ways of doing it. There we go, we've scraped up as much mess as we possibly can, and I'm going to put it into a sealed container, as you can see here, and I'm going to put a lid on it. If I can only get the lid on it, we'll be doing well. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to pop that in the freezer because that's the best place for oil paint. It won't go off so quickly in there. So we're going to just clean up the palette. With a paper towel seems to be the best way of doing it. Palette knives. Right, as you can see, the brushes are covered in paint, thick, gluggy oil paint. So what we want to be doing is just taking the excess paint out of them using a paper towel. Just pop them down beside me while I do that. Just squeeze the oil paint out. Using the same jar that I was using as a stand for my brushes, I'm just going to pour some turpentine in. Now this is a jar of turpentine that's already been used, and if we just look inside it, you'll see that the oil has sunk to the bottom of the turpentine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just simply tip off the top layer, and as you can see the turpentine, although discoloured, is still quite clear. Just keep pouring it until it starts to run a bit dirty, and as you can see all the thick oil paint is in the bottom of the jar. So that's a jar of turpentine. I'm just going to pop all my brushes into that. Give them a bit of a stir up. Put a little bit on my palette as well so that I can clean that up later. As you can see, I've got the windows open over there, and the idea is just to let the fumes out of the room because you don't want to be high on turpentine. You do get used to this stuff after a while. The smell of the fumes, although some members of the household may not. Now what I've got here is just a waterproof container. This is just a tin foil cooking container. Just going to get each brush individually. Get as much oil paint out of them as I possibly can. Just pop them into there. Once they have a little bit more work done on it, squish it down to the bottom of the jar. Right, as you can see, there's my brushes. They're not quite finished yet though, there's another stage to go. Now I'm just going to pour this turpentine back into this jar. Put the lid on it tight. These sealed glass jars are the perfect thing actually. What I'm going to do there is turn that upside down so all the turpentine drains out of that. Okay, now that I've used the turpentine on my brushes, it's time to use soap and water on them to get the last of the oil paint out of them so that they're not going to get hard and crusty on us. Let's do the job there. Okay, here I am in the wash house. Stage 2 of the cleanup is to use soap and water, and what I've got here is a jar of quite strong detergent. It's simply dishwashing liquid. So I'm just going to soak my brushes in the dishwashing liquid. Now to save making a mess in the bottom of your tub, if you use a waterproof container, it contains everything into that so that you're not going to get oil paint and scum around your tub. So give them each brush individually a good stir and just work the oil paint out of it like that, using a strong soapy water. Use the palm of your hand if you want to. Always use cold water, because if you use hot water, the steam that comes off it, oh, it smells like turpentine, and it steams through the whole house and stinks the place out. So you just work as much of that paint out. And the good thing about this is it cleans your hands at the same time from your oil painting job. So, and just leave it in there. Just do each one individually. I'll put a few paper towels down around my bench surface so that things remain relatively clean as possible. Now the next stage is to simply rinse. Just get the whole bunch of brushes and rinse them under the cold tap to get the remaining soap out of them. Back in the studio, I'm just going to make sure my brushes are as dry as I can, so squeeze as much water out of them. Always stand them upright in a jar to dry, so they dry out nice and straight. Push them back into shape with your fingers before you leave them there, because this is how they're going to dry. If you put your brushes in that way, you're going to end up with a kink in them. These Terpsy paper towels that I've been using, I'm just going to pop them outside for a little while so that they will fume off and not inside the house. I know it looks like I'm littering, but I will pick them up later after all the turpentine is fumed off them. Back in the tub room, just going to wash my hands with the same soapy water that I was using to clean the brushes. And it's a good tip to use a barrier cream on your hands before you start oil painting. That means that the oil paint's not going to stick so readily to your hands, and your hands are going to clean up a lot easier. Use those paper towels, clean up the tub, and you're all good to go. So that's it, nice clean brushes, ready for the next job. You enjoy your painting and have a nice day, and thanks for coming. I'm Andrew White, catch you later. There are loads of tutorial videos on my website, including colour mixing and oil painting for beginners. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you.